3, 2, 1. Welcome. We are doing a session 0 with one of the player characters. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I am Bucket, and I am playing a Tabaxi artificer named Sourdough.
This is essentially a session 0 before he meets up with the group in the Empire. We start our story of the Catfolk venturing in the Arid Fracture, a harsh desert where the aftermath of the Great War between the Ancients and Dragons took place. Hot and barren, barely any life that crawled across the sand. However, secrets lay beneath the sands. Powerful artifacts left by the metallic lords of steel and gold. Their magnificence was left buried for anyone brave or foolish enough to seek them. Our adventurer, a Nedu artificer named Sourdough, seeks knowledge of the ancients left behind, convincing a small explorers party with a birdfolk named Ali as they traverse the rough and coarse wasteland, searching everywhere for the prize of knowledge. Will our inquisitive explorers find what they seek, or will the surrounding sand engulf them?
Probably not, because it's a prequel.
Fucking spoilers! Come on, man!
I sure hope Chewbacca doesn't die in this prequel.
Here is Sourdough being accompanied by Ali and a small explorers team of nameless birdfolk, or Avon, ex-cavalry, if you will. Leading the front is Ali Ahmar, the guide of the exploration team. Young, around his 20s, wearing a traveler's tarp with goggles to block the sand from hurting his eyes and glare from the harsh sun. He was hired to escort a small mercenary team and has a secret desire to be a philosopher. So he gladly takes on the job, even though Sourdough's credentials are dubious at best.
Yeah, does he know that I'm not one?
He never asked. He just assumes that you're a philosopher.
This is funny because knowing Sourdough, I absolutely would have told him by now.
He's a bit gullible, to say the least.
Oh, this dude's getting killed for plot reasons, isn't he?
Well, yeah, he has to carry all of the death flags, as well as the man behind you, known as Hamad, the leader of this small exploration team, usually riding his Rashid, Beruz. They cannot speak common, and only speaks birdfolk. That's why Ali's here. The exploration team is a mercenary team of retired Avon tribe cavalry, using their expertise to create escorts and caravans to transport people or goods. They can barely speak common, mostly for trading purposes. The Arid Fracture is a desolate wasteland where supposedly the ancients fought and battled against the dragons, turning this land into a barren desert. Mainly nothing grows here, on the lack of water and harsh sandstorms that blow in. The exploration team continues their travel on the sandy hills of the Arid Fracture, led by Ali. The team has been traveling around 2 days, surviving on water reserves and rations from earlier preparation. The trek is long and demanding, but the team persevere. You have this time to look around.
I do look around.
The landscape is filled with small hills of sand and dust, with small shrubs as the only form of life that can flourish in this dry, forsaken wasteland. A small sand skitter licks its tongue as it scurries away from your movements. These things just sort of like sand geckos, almost. However, they have big heat-radiant spikes that stick up so that they can handle the harsh heat. On the northern horizon, there appears to be a massive mountain range, looking larger than the tallest mountains in the Ancient's Crown. However, there shouldn't be any mountain ranges in the Arid Fracture. Would you like to roll a knowledge nature check?
I will, in fact, roll a knowledge nature check. All right, that's a 17.
17? Your huge knowledge, your big knowledge brain, the large mountain range is actually billowing sand clouds from a nearby sandstorm, blowing winds at deadly speeds.
Ooh.
It's wise to avoid at all costs.
I'm just going to assume that Ali sees it, so I'm just going to keep doing my thing.
Ali already sort of knows about this stuff, but you were able to pick it up. He sort of is like, wow, you really are a philosopher. So smart. You can roll a perception check.
That's a 13.
Trailing with the caravan, you almost trip and fall over a hard, rocky surface. It appears to gleam in the sunlight. Observing it and scratching it, you realize it's glass. Molten sand that was superheated and then quickly cooled. There doesn't seem to be any reasonable explanation for this phenomenon. Small chunks of solid glass appeared scattered in the sand like smooth rocks.
I will gingerly take one of them and put it in my bag for observation later.
Most of them are a little bit too big to carry, but you do find one that's been like sort of worn down or eroded. So now you have a cool little small glass stone. It's nice and smooth, but it's very like sort of rough, not jagged. You can tell that it's been like weathered by sand erosion for a very long time. It sort of has like this appearance of somebody just like took sandpaper to it.
No, yeah, of course.
During the trip, Ali goes around looking a bit worried. Mr. Philosopher, though, some of the team seem a bit hesitant about your defender machination that Ali sort of pipes up during the trip. You hear some of the exploration team having grumblings and whisperings. It's considered a bad omen to bring a false idol to such a sacred place.
Oh, he's not a false idol. This is just Ruben.
Ruben sort of looks a little bit like he resembles a bit. He's just like sort of. He's like putting his fingers together. He's like hesitantly trying to explain this in a way that wouldn't seem extremely exulting. He continues, sharing some of the concern, even though he was not as superstitious. Okay, I'll go tell that to the rest. He then leads them off the beaten path over the giant dunes represented here, directing the rest of the team to traverse the sand and rock. Ellie just sort of pops over here next to Ruben. Does Ruben like react whenever Ellie is just like sort of looking? Or is he's just in like Chad walk?
Yeah, he's just walking around.
I'm fucking imagining like Livesley walk.
He's a big boy, and I'm a 5 foot tall little like scientist who needs somebody to carry all like my books and my tools.
Mm-hmm.
So
Ali just sort of like pops up and goes next to Ruben and over to you. Is like, here is the Talmor Dune, the dunes, untouched. We'll surely find what you're looking for, Mr. Philosopher. Though.
Oh, I'm not a philosopher.
Huh?
I told you this.
But how? He sort of looks to Ruben, then looks over to you. It's like, surely a man of great intelligence would, that was blessed by the great academia would be a philosopher, surely?
No.
He has his beak. His beak is to the floor.
This is not the first time Sourdough has told him this.
He was kind of a little bit too distracted staring at Ruben.
He never fucking asked.
He never fucking asked. He just waddles to you. It's like, what?
What do you mean?
I thought you were a philosopher.
Some people have called me a traveling scholar. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not.
He looks over to the exploration team and Hamad, who's just like sort of sitting there, very grumpy. Some of the exploration team is just like sort of kicking sand as they're like sort of waiting there. It's like, we probably shouldn't tell this to the rest of the team. Let's keep this to ourselves.
Okay.
I kind of told them that they were being hired on a scientific research with a philosopher.
I mean, it's scientific research, but
yes, but the philosopher part is a little bit more important to them. You look back at them, and you also notice that they have guns and swords. Making them angry in the middle of a desert is probably not the best idea.
When I look back at them, I'll give them a little wave.
Yeah, it's something, you don't need a perception check to show this, but they really don't like you. They're just considering this as a job, nothing more. They're not personally invested in any of this. They just want the money.
Not always about the money, Spider-Man.
It's about the Mets, baby. Either way, the bird folk still has like this sort of air of enthusiasm, considering the fact that you weren't lying. This is a scholarly expedition, and he wants to get scholarly knowledge. Hearing of your exploits and the artificial machinations, including your new magic locator, a device that Sourdough built and has not tested until now.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
I forgot about that.
Now is the time, Mr. Philosopher, though, to use your device.
I frantically dig around in my bag, pushing aside the many little trinkets I have. I have a bear paw for good luck. I have my little, like,
also
thing
a rock.
of throwing darts and... What?
The new stone that you picked up.
Oh yeah, the rock. Yeah, I have the rock. I push aside the rock and I pull out what looks to be like a hand crank siren, sort of fashioned from a little piece of like tin can, held on a small little T-junction with a wooden handle at the bottom of it. On the side is a hand crank, and on the top is a small, almost carved stone dish for receiving like magical signals, and all over the device are magic runes carved.
You're getting like serious dowsing rod energy.
It's you crank the siren, and new magic energies are infused with the sound by the runes across the device, and then mirroring signals will be reflected back to the small dish at the top.
Well, Ali already's excited about this. He says, "Mr. Philosopher Sourdough, crank that soldier boy."
Okay. Start cranking it, and it goes like, It's like a siren, but very like much lower pitched.
Ah, yes, this is the siren head I heard so much about.
No, yeah, it's a mix of like a siren and like a low hum.
The machine whirs to life. It rumbles and purrs, detecting sounds that emanate from new magic devices, detecting sounds that couldn't be heard with normal ears. It sort of like beeps and waves get faster and faster as it points to a small sand dune.
Ooh, I think we got one. And I will excitedly like put the device back in the bag, jogging my way over to the hill.
Somewhere over there, Ali follows. The rest of the exploration team just driftfully follow to make sure, like nothing bad happens. They're essentially acting as your chaperone.
When I reach the dune, is there anything obviously sticking out, or is it just a pile of sand?
It's a pile of sand, so you take out the device again. Following the increased whine, the sound grows stronger and more erratic. Pointing to the ground, the sand starts to shift and swirl around. The incitement of a discovery burning in your chest as you approach closer and closer to a new discovery.
Oh boy.
Only for a sand skidder to pop out of the sand. Licking its jaw, scurries away. Whine from the new magic locator dies down.
Hey Ruben, go get him! And I point to the sand skidder.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's any consolation, the Steel Defender has a speed of 40 feet with a dex of +1.
Unfortunately, the sand skidder is not only faster, but it can bury. Like, it can dive into the sand like a torpedo. So Ruben just tries to, just clamps it, just only for sand to just appear out of it. And the exploration team start laughing even more. Hamad erupts in laughter, saying something amidst the chuckle of the other crew. Ali just sort of puts a hand, is like, "Don't worry, Mr. Philosopher, though. I'm sure it was just a malfunction. Perhaps we should set up camp for the rest of the day."
I think give it a few more minutes. I mean, it obviously picked up something here. Do you want to try it? Hold it out to him.
He sort of just pokes at it a little bit.
No, you just hold the handle and
crank that soldier boy.
Yeah, just crank it. It's easy to use.
He cranks it again. Nothing. Like I said, maybe malfunction.
Maybe malfunction, but... Hey, Ruben, do you want to dig in that spot where the bug came up for a little bit?
Ruben starts digging. Hamad is just saying something to the rest of the crew, although he's saying it in bird folk, so he can't understand.
Of course.
Of course, Ali understands what he's saying, so you can... Well, you can ask Ali what he's saying, because he is your translator.
I'll see what Ruben's up to. I'll see what my boy's digging up.
Ruben keeps, digging the sand with, his bare
But
hands.
he also has 4 arms.
Yeah, even with 4 arms, this sand is very loose. It just appears to be more raw.
Is this special rock?
Well, you can use the device again.
Actually, can I just pull an Arcana check on it real quick?
Yes.
I will check it, and then if it's anything special, I will do the big cranky. Oh, that is a 21.
Unfortunately, it is dormant. Nothing there.
So there was something here.
Ellie is just maybe it's something to ponder about when we set up camp?
Yeah, maybe. Well, if you want to set up, get to it then.
We're just wondering if you could also,
Oh, yeah, of course.
He's saying, very politely.
No, yeah, Sourdough's not being rude at all. He just doesn't get social cues.
The team starts to assemble at the campsite. Soon, the afternoon day becomes sunset as the mercenaries eat and dance as they relax in the cool night breeze. The sand feels warm against the frigid air as the sun drifted below the horizon. Music from drums and the sound of laughter can be heard from the ex-cavalry band. So this is the camp that is completely set up. The Avon tribe folk have given you a small plate of rations and also give you the side-eye. crowding
As
around
you
the
do.
first fireplace, giving you the impression that they don't want you to join them. Ali ecstatically waves you over to sit with him near a separate fireplace where the rashids are stored.
Yeah, I'll take a big sit.
Reuben is just standing there.
I'll have him sit and like put his hands on his knees, and the other set of hands is like leaning back. But he's just like sitting by. He's a bodyguard.
He'll hold your utensils.
No, it's all right. I'm gonna finish my meal and then get up to something.
Ali is like, that Reuben that you call it.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. How did you make such a contraption?
Honestly, it just came to me one day. After all my voyages, I just decided to sit down with all my magic knowledge I gained and try to put them together, and I did.
Oh, a prodigy.
I don't know.
That's amazing. I have been mostly trying to study most of my life.
Oh, do you want
but
to
I
take a
don't
look
think
at
I
it?
could even compare half of what you've already done so far. You can already tell that how like Ali is sort of being treated with the ex-cavalry member. He's like kind of the nerd of the group. They don't really want to deal with him that much, but you know, they kind of have to. That's what you're getting on from him.
Well, do you want to take a look at Reuben at all?
Oh, Mr. Philosopher, yet not philosopher, though I would love to.
Be my guest.
Sort of pokes around, trying very carefully not to break anything. While he's sort of looking at it, he sort of tells you how during most of his childhood, his family actually really does support him becoming a philosopher. Or something to do with the Empyrean Academy. Always wanted to seek knowledge and try to understand the world. And the reason why he took this job was he always wants to become a philosopher's apprentice in the Empire and learn in their expanse Empyrean library.
I hope you get to do all that one day.
With you on my resume, Mr. Philosopher, though, I'm pretty sure that'll be more than just a wish.
Oh, does the Empire know about me at all?
Well, most philosophers don't usually want to seek new magic devices, which will definitely set you apart to set in your dissertation.
What's a dissertation?
It's, a paper about what you have learned and why the, Empyrean Academia would want to fund any future research.
Oh, like my notebook. Reuben, show him the notes. Reuben always has like a big metal tool case with him at all time, and he pops open the tool case. Like, I assume Ali's working on one side of him. He moves like his arms to the other side. He pops open the red tool case and hands Ali a brown little leather-bound notebook.
He sort of like looks at it, and it's like the Ratatouille meme where he's just like reading it and getting even like more focused into it.
I'd also like to point out that this is not like academically phrased. This is like a diary of scientific notes. This is just my diary of like, wow, that was really neat.
Ali is, he's pretty smart on the uptake, so he's able to decipher most of like your chicken scratch. Ali is just like, this philosopher dough. This has this. You could fit 5-6 dissertations in this.
Could I?
How has the academia not accepted you yet?
I haven't applied. I've just sort of been walking around and doing my own thing.
Ali is just like, his mind is like, he could have been accepted into the academia and have access to the Empyrean library 5 times over, and yet he didn't. My mind is full of what? His mind is just what? He's like a little bit tempted to ask to just like borrow some of the notes. He has too much academic integrity.
Good, because I would have given it to him.
It's like, maybe I could use these as references?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
He just sort of like takes his own notebook and then just starts like scribbling down profusely. He's essentially copying like some of the other notes. Respectfully, of course. He's putting in citations.
As you do.
Chicago, the best bibliography site.
Oh, fuck, don't remind me of Chicago. Don't you dare remind the history major of Chicago.
I know I talked to you about philosophers before, but for people that don't know philosophers, scientists don't exactly exist yet in this world. Instead, most truths are found through philosophy. And thus, philosophers fill in the roles as like mathematicians, philosophers, scientists, and like sociologists, all rolled into one. They're the big smart boys that are supposed to like know many smart things. It takes quite a lot of practice, patience, and of course, a lot of testing in order to become a fully registered philosopher in the Empire. Although Sourdough's qualifications, he would skyrocket. He would ace any test at this point. Again, you learned a little bit more about Ali. He doesn't really have that much of a remarkable past. Most of his life is very boring growing up, and he just wants to become a philosopher's apprentice. Maybe even a scribe. The embers of the flames start to die out as Ali tells Sourdough good night.
Good night.
And then you guys can head over to your respective tents, because getting a bit sleepy. Are you going to take a big nappy?
First, I'm gonna like take out the piece of glass that I picked up earlier and just like look at it by the fire for a little while.
The fire isn't much of a fire anymore. Still a bit of glow, there.
I'm also a cat, so I have dark vision, so...
Every fucking race has dark vision. Look at it, it's, again, you know for a fact that incredible heat is needed to make glass. It needs to be a flash of heat, a flash of intense heat, and the fact that this could happen, would you like to roll an intelligence check?
My automatic assumption just from studying like the war between them, and especially like ancient new magic, there would just be heat-based weapons that would easily just be able to scorch the ground. So this would just be like a misfire from one of those.
Yeah, a good guess.
It's a 21, which is a general intelligence roll, so I think I'm okay.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. So looking at the glass, your first hypothesis is that it was made by the ancients during the war. However, you realize after looking at it again, there's a couple of problems with that. For one, the war with the ancients and the dragons happened like almost hundreds, thousands of years ago. In fact, there isn't actually a known record date for when this war happened. It has been a very long time, and the glass probably would have been eroded by now. They would not be able to have the same shape as you saw out in the wild. Sourdough has to surmise this was made recently.
Ooh.
Relatively recent. Give or take like 100, maybe 300 years.
Oh, I'm going to put that funny little thing in my bag. And where's the hole that we started digging earlier?
That was a while back. You guys can like go back and explore tomorrow?
I figured we were just like camped on top of it, so I was gonna go take a look, but if it's too far back, I can just go to sleep.
Well, I mean, it can be like an easy walk there. However, it is the middle of the night. Your guide is sleeping, and he essentially told you not to go out at night because that's when creatures really like, wandering around. You guys aren't really going anywhere, so you can just pick this up back up at the morning.
All right.
There's your respective tent for you and Ruben. You guys say goodnight, sleep tight. Don't let the little sand crawlers bite as you drift and dream of discovery. Sourdough.
Yes.
It's very early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Sourdough wakes up to the new magic locator going off erratically.
Without even cranking it?
Without even cranking it.
Wacky.
Weird. Some weird chicanery is happening. Senses are still fuzzy as you awake from your makeshift cot. With the sounds of whining and scratching from the device, the needles scurrying in all directions. It's active, and that means that there's new magic is around. But I hear now.
Alright. I'm gonna like get Ruben up.
Ruben!
I think there's something bad out there.
You can roll a perception check with disadvantage.
Alright.
Since you're still groggy and still trying to wake up. You didn't have your cat coffee yet. Catnip.
Alright, we got an 8.
Got an 8?
8.
Ooh. You go out, you start to hear like a little bit of rattling from the tent, and you sort of go out, and there is just sand everywhere. Outside the tent, the wind is howling, and sand is grating on your robes. You also, since you walked out unprotected, you got sand in your eyes.
I'm going to immediately dive back in, get the sand on my eyes, and put on my goggles.
As soon as like you opened the tent, just like sand started pouring some of your eyes, so you're gonna be taking a little bit of damage. You took 2 damage in your eye. During this time, you also have a disadvantage to perception checks.
Fair enough.
Put the goggles back on. Ali is just like, there's a sandstorm! Mr. Philosopher, no, where are you?
Yeah, I know. I figured it out. Thank you.
Ali is just already has his goggle on.
Yeah, well, I'm in scale mail, and now I have goggles on, and Ruben's a machine, so we'll just, like, go out.
Outside the tent, the wind is howling, sand grating on your robes. Sourdough is in the full eye of the storm, as the exploration team scrambles and scatters away from the campsite in a panic at the situation in front of them. The Rashids are all scared and trotting away, Hamad screaming for his beruz as he disappears into the gritty sand fog.
I'm going to have Ruben hold the magic locator, and just as a caution, I'm going to draw my pistol with my right hand.
Mm-hmm. Ali is like the only one that's still there. The mercenary team, they just ran.
Yeah, as you do. I'll yell to Ali, hey, have you seen anything weird walking around?
What? Can't hear you that well.
Hold on, I'm gonna get close to him then. I'll get like as close to him as I can. Hey, have you seen anything weird walking around?
No, I haven't, Mr. Philosopher.
Okay.
He sort of looks. His jaw drops again as he's looking at something behind.
Oh, great.
It's like, Mr. Philosopher.
Yeah?
Ali stammers as he looks up to the center of the storm, sparks flickering from the vortex. Flashes of light glowing from the cyclone, almost shining like eyes, as you hear a roar. Lightning strikes down 15 feet in front of you, the sand becoming hot, molten glass.
Oh yeah! I forgot to tell you, the glass we found is probably recent. And probably from that thing. Now that I think about it.
Uh-oh. When looking at it, there appears to be like flickers of light that almost look like a face.
I'm gonna yell up to it, hello? Hi! Are you friendly?
It makes another roar as it strikes lightning at the campsite.
Okay.
Ali yells at the catfolk. Sand demon! Run!
Can I cast heroism on him?
You could use that right about now.
No, yeah, I'm gonna like waltz over to him as he's trying to run away and like hit him with heroism.
You guys are running, and what it appears to be a cave. Before you do that, can you attack with disadvantage?
I can indeed. Oh, cool. We rolled 2 18s. We take those. All right, that's a 21.
Amongst the howling, Sourdough's ears perk up to a voice in the wind. Remember who you are.
What?
A voice is carried in the swirl, fleeting and faint, not necessarily being directed to you, but besides you, in a cacophony of sand and lightning. Ali says, Sand demon, run! He exclaims as he starts to take off in the opposite direction of the tower of shifting sand and light. The vortex roars again, sending out another stream of lightning adjacent to the catfolk, following, slowly chasing you. Lightning casts down onto the sand like fingers clawing into the sand dunes.
Yeah.
Ali is going to go first.
All right, and Ali does have heroism cast on him, so question.
Yes.
Could I have Ruben carry me?
All right, yeah, no.
All right. Yeah, he will scoop me up in his big, strong arms. Gianni's big, ripped arms are giving me serious gender envy right now. He'll pick me up with a set of 2 of his arms, and I'll hold the toolbox on my lap as we run.
Ali points over to a cave near one of the dunes. We need to find shelter. It's our only way.
All right.
Ruben going to take a sprint, although you will be leaving Ali in the dust.
Figure I'll send him back after I get down, so... Hey, Ruben, go back and get him.
Ruben is just essentially going, like, running relay at this point.
Pretty much, yeah. I'll just have him, like, pick up Ali and, like, take him the rest of the way, and I'll just walk myself.
Sourdough, roll dexterity.
You got us. All right, 12.
You succeed. So there's just another lightning strike that goes over. I actually roll for Ali.
You hear the cloud say it's time to make a very special deal.
Remember who you are. Remember the great deals at Spamton G. Spamton.
Remember all the great deals and free Cromer I gave you.
Ali managed to roll due to his heroism. He's heroic now. He's heroic Ali.
Hurrah.
He's in hero mode right now. He's essentially going to try and sprint over to Ruben, and the sandstorm is going to be slowly following you. And you see, like, it just consumes the tent. Just tent gone.
Oh, my pumpkin seeds were in there.
This sandstorm is going over to you. You don't want to be near that thing. You want to be over here, down in that cave.
I'll take a sprint, actually. So we'll do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I've made it.
Go into it. Lightning strikes around him, but he manages like hop onto Ruben's arm like a bride being carried.
As you do.
As you do. Roll a perception check.
I rolled a 1.
You're like really distracted. A lot of things are distracting you. A big sandstorm monster that's trying to attack you. And also like trying to run for your life. You notice, however, when Ruben is running with Ali, the lightning isn't striking him. Even though you think that would be the best target for lightning to strike.
Whoa, good job, Ruben.
Great!
I don't think I care. I'd probably just notice and be like, whoa. Yeah, Ruben will take another sprint because he can do it with no consequence. Bring Ali to leave him out in the rain.
I'm gonna leave him out of the sand. We will leave him in the sand. Become fried Ali.
Ali over rice.
Ali with couscous. Dishes.
Jerk Ali.
Jerk Ali! Mr. He Jerk Ali, Ali Ababwa.
Jamaican griddle, what a thrill for you and me.
Oh my god.
It's a fictional character, it's fine.
Sprinting hard in the sand as Sourdough finally reaches the cave, the howling wind growing fainter and fainter as they enter the darkness. The light shines in the cavern as Ali sort of coddles the oil lamp, looking scared, panicking, trying to make sense of what happened and what he just encountered.
I'm gonna go over and give him a hug.
Yep. Ali is like, what? Who? Where? He says in a frantic state, muttering, anxious as the lantern was shaking.
Hey, yo, it's fine. We're safe now.
Roll a persuasion check, and it can be an advantage since you're hugging him.
Oh, I almost want to roll a disadvantage.
No.
Oh, thank you.
You guys are good friends now.
What was it again?
No, you shared your notebook with him.
7. I got a 7. I don't think he's gonna get in here, probably. We should be fine.
It takes a little bit, but eventually he calms down as you see like the sandstorm is no longer going around destroying everything else. Ali just immediately like perks up and is like, What was that thing inside the vortex?
I don't know.
He asks you, but you can't seem to give an answer that would satisfy you both. The two of you are just standing alone inside the cave. The bird folk gets up rambling, theorizing about what they have just witnessed. Then it dawns on him. You are both stuck here. At least for as long as the sandstorm is still outside.
Yeah, I knew that.
Hopefully the storm will subside.
I don't think it'll go too long. I mean, it's obviously following that big guy, so once the big guy has his fill, we should be fine.
Has to end soon, right?
Probably.
He says meekly, looking outside to the howling wind and roaring storm again.
I hope so.
We are going to die
I got
here.
sand in my toes.
Yeah, no, Ali is just like, we are going to die here. He mutters, pacing back and forth. With no team, no Hamad, and no way to contact the outside world. While you're in here, you can roll an investigation check.
Try to see if I know I have food because I have a Dungeoneer's pack.
Yes. Did you eat all of the rations from last night?
I assume so. That was my dinner, so.
Yeah. There you have it.
That is a 13.
13? All right, that works. When looking at the ground, there are groves and indications in the sand that the cave was filled halfway. Upon going further to the edges of the cave, the loose floor gives way as you tumble down further, revealing a long, spindling cavern in front of you.
I'm gonna shout out, hey! If you're looking for something to do, it looks like there's a bigger cave down here. We could look around here to help kill some time.
A bigger what? And then he just also tumbles down the sand.
Yeah, see? Big cave.
All right, you're no longer blinded by sand, but you have sand.
As I'm waiting for him to like roll down, I'll like take out my claws and start like picking it out from in between my fingers.
You both rise from the sand around you. Looking around, there is a well-lit hallway in front of you. Carvings and statues are reminiscent of a temple that was lost to time. The explorers head further into what appears to be a large chamber, a small pathway lined to the side of an large internal cave. A large tear, cracked open sunlight to illuminate the space before them. On the edges of the wall, you can see ginormous statues etched into the stone, posed like they are holding the large ravine above.
Ooh.
Well, you just sort of, what is this? Looking around the stone masonry, statues make out holding orbs, illuminating the walls and the floors for them. This has to be at least 100, thousands of years old, Elise says in amazement.
Can I roll a history check to see if I like recognize this style of architecture?
You may.
It's a great day for rolls. That's a 13.
13. This is 100% new.
That does.
Ali says almost like absent-mindedly, like sort of walking. Jeez, amazing. I can't believe we made such a discovery, Mr. Philosopher, yet not philosopher though.
Yeah, I think you discovered like a new desert civilization.
Paces a bit forward, looking around, not even checking for any traps.
I'm gonna just like look around. Are these so there's a lot of just like dead bodies around. Are these statues? Are these mummies?
They appear to be stone. They're made out of stone. Do not worry about the dead bodies in the catacombs.
I'm gonna like take out my crowbar and like lightly tap the chest of one of them, just like a little like dink dink dink, just to see if it's hollow.
It doesn't seem to be hollow. They're more reminiscent of like sarcophagi.
Oh, that's not good. Hey, Mr. Ali, can you help me see if there's a latch on these anywhere?
Sort of looks around. He's looking around the coffin. Like that, Annie. This is Gus solid stone.
Guts that ever died, they really don't want getting out, huh?
Right over here, there appears to be some big rocks that are directly in your path. Ali just sort of looks at you as like, what do we do now, philosopher?
Hey, Ruben, can you give us a hand with this?
You can take Ruben over to the thing.
Yep.
With one swift punch, a one-punch man, if you will, debris cleared. He's a big, strong boy. Also,
Good job,
these aren't very big boulders. Fantastic! Ali says as he trails behind Sourdough to take notes as they explored the man-made cavern. The walls have long but faded.
I'm looking for this big guy.
It appears to be like a representation of an ancient.
Oh.
A stone-like carving of the lords of gold and steel. Though you can't make out this one. Most of the ancient names have actually been lost to time. They're just referred to as the ancient or the metal lords.
Funky.
They're essentially like some elven philosopher that allegedly do know a couple of names, but it's apparently a very like held-kept secret. So there's actually suspicions and rumors that they're just making it up and just doing it just to, it's like, I was there during the Great War. Like, sure you were, pal. So Ali just sort of like walks over and their caverns.
What's down here?
Appears to be remains and debris. There's something here, although you can only surmise.
Well, I'm gonna do that. What do you want me to roll, sir?
That would be an investigation check.
Oh, good. That is a 19.
Hard to tell by like the sort of rocks and debris from like possible cave-in. It appears to be like a sort of remains of like a court, things for like, production, musical dances.
Interesting.
So why somebody would create something like this here is, again, a mystery to you.
Gotta have some entertainment in the desert. Hey, Ali, we're gonna go this way. Do you want to come with?
Oh, just coming.
Continue onward.
Walls have long been faded. Any carvings or depictions made out, though it still doesn't help the birdfolk from muttering hypotheses why this was constructed. Footsteps echoed. Perhaps there is a way out of this. The explorers head further into what appears to be a large chamber. A small pathway lined the side of a large internal cave. Large tears cracked open sunlight to illuminate the space before them. On the edges of the wall, you can see ginormous statues etched into the stone, posed like they are holding the large ravine above. Ooh, amazing. We must have discovered a hidden temple, long lost to civilization, Ali exclaimed, his voice echoing through the spacious cavern. He climbs up a broken piece of the platform as he extends a hand to the catfolk. Would you like to roll a knowledge arcana? This is supposed to be like the light that is shining.
That is a 17.
That is great, you pass. Are you ready?
Yes.
Upon further examination, the catfolk notices some bits of metal and small connectors on the statue. Nozzles and decrepit tubes wrapped around the figure like sinew on muscle. They were not statues at all, but rather the remains of ancient machines, deactivated constructs, with the sole purpose of holding them in place, for reasons unknown except to their long-gone masters. They're Omega Ruben.
Is there a way that I can try and activate them?
Not that you can see, and plus with ancients already have like technology far more advanced, probably you would take years in order to figure out how to activate, if there was a way to activate. They seem old, like they wouldn't even if they had power.
I want to pick up a rock off the ground and throw it at one.
Okay, throw it. It makes a crack. It makes a dun, and then it falls into the ravine. They don't move, not one bit.
All right. What's up here, first of all? Is this another entranceway?
Nope, that's another blocked off cavern by debris.
Cool, we will continue onward then.
Yep, So here is center of you.
Scattering them like some roast pumpkin seeds on like the altar table to see if they'll like take it.
Nothing happens.
I don't know, maybe they were hungry. What's the check I need to roll?
Perception check. Our table! It's hungry!
16.
All right. After some time in silence and placing pumpkin seeds on the table, you can hear a soft ringing sound buzzing. Upon further inspection, you realize that the sound is coming from the pillar itself. Walking over to the pillar, which pillar would you like to go to?
I'll go that one.
All right. Touching the hard stone, your figures begin to resonate with a vibrating rock. This pillar wasn't still. Far from it. It was constantly trying to escape confines of its stagnant state. There are slits on the side of the pillar that hum a sickly tune, as if the entire column was out of tune.
I'm gonna go and look over at the other columns, see if they're in a similar state.
As you look over, it appears they all appear like this, every single one. Would you like to relay this to Ali?
I'll relay this to Ali, yes.
All right. After relaying this information to Ali, he feels the table after when you touch the pillars. It too is softly vibrating. Shaking it as well. Perhaps the pillars and the tables want to one?
Maybe?
Said hesitantly, trying to believe anything that was happening at the moment.
I mean, they seem kind of out of tune, so I wonder if this will do it. And I pull the magic locator out and sort of crank the handle to like begin the siren.
Your new magic locator is now going on. It is going sicko mode. Because there's new magic chicanery going on.
No, yeah, I'm cranking it to try to make noise, so...
It is making noise, but it seems like the pillars need to be making them. And it's like, but how do we do that, philosopher? When inspecting the pillars, you also notice the base of the segmented, meaning that it can be...
Oh,
You like to try turning it.
So, do the slits on the side of the pillars mean anything?
The slits are where the tune is coming out of.
If I look around at the pillars, are the slits mirrored on them?
No, they're in different places and in different positions of the columns. Like if a wind instrument had different holes making different notes.
I'm gonna investigate the table and see if there's like any markings on it that match the slits. If the table has instructions on how to correctly align the pillars.
Okay, go over.
Alright.
Roll a knowledge arcana check.
Arcana, you say? That is a 16.
When cranking the new magic locator, you see that it's making a tone different from what the pillars are. Almost like if it's trying to harmonize with it. Sourdough is starting to think that these pillars and the table are trying to harmonize with each other.
Is there anything on the table describing like a way to get them back in place? Because I know they rotate and they all have different slits. I'm trying to see if the table has like a solution. So I'm not just sitting there spinning pillars until it works.
Looking at the table, unfortunately, any instructions that would have been there are long gone because everything is just faded and eroded. However, on the corners, there are slits in almost the same positions as the columns would. So, putting two together, you turn until the slits are facing.
Alright.
You want to start spinning the columns?
I'm gonna go to the one that I did first. I will send Ruben over to this one, and then Allie is free to choose.
You can't get this thing to budge.
Allie's the same, I assume?
Yep, Allie is just like... Not very strong. Ruben,
Same.
however, is able to do it with no problem whatsoever.
Alright, well, Ruben turns all of them, so...
Ruben cranks all of them, cranks the soldier boy. Turning the pillars, the hum becomes louder and louder. The stone dissolves into metal, showing the small slivers of new magic that was hidden underneath. The pieces of glinting steel flew onto the table, assembling themselves into an amorphous shape, constantly shifting as the metal clicks each turn. From your research notebook, you knew what this was. It is a device of infinite perpetual energy. A new magical device. Ali's face is pure amazement at this revelation. Sourdough could almost see stars sparkle in the bird folk's eyes.
I'm just gonna sit back and like watch this thing assembly and just go like, wow.
It's actually made from the table and the pillar as it's like now clicking. It's very small for such a device of infinite perpetual energy.
Huh. Is it too big to put in a bag?
Nope. Perfect.
Alright. Yeah, I will take this and put it in my bag with all the other funny little trinkets.
All right. It feels almost warm in your hands. The machine's metal bits shift around your palms as if conscious that it was being held. It clicks, shifts, and whirls in an unusual rhythm and melody, playing a weak but noticeable tune. Just then, you notice a rumble on the floor. The walls shake as the constructs behind you lose any metallic luster and fall limp, sending rubble and debris down behind you.
The ones over here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just more and more debris just sort of collapse onto here.
Oh. Well, one way out, I guess.
Cave-in? Haven't we been through enough today?
I don't think so, not yet. We're still fine right now.
All of this is just being crushed by the just sheer weight of these mechanical creatures and like the walls that they're holding up.
We should probably start moving.
Yeah, you probably should. All right, it's time to run.
All right. Ruben grabs Ali with both hands, put him in his arms, and sprints. So
yep,
5,
let's go.
15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40.
You need to roll an athletics check.
For Ruben?
Yeah.
That's a 5.
Fortunately, it's not enough, and you and Ali are stuck. Ali is actually going to try and climb up it himself.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna try.
You do have a climbing speed. You just climb up it. You can be a cat. You climb it. Nope.
I hold my hand out to Ruben to help him get up.
Now Ruben gets an advantage.
Oh, that's a nat 20. All right.
You just grab it as these like debris sort of falls over.
Yeah.
Ruben gets up. You guys are running.
I will have him pick up Ali again.
Mm-hmm.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and I'll take my sprint to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
You guys are able to clear that.
Are we in the safe zone?
Well, you're not in the safe. Light is over at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, is this the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, not the end of the tunnel, but that's where the light is starting. Ali is just like, go on, it's just a bit further.
All right, well, Ruben's still carrying him. He can't get out that easy. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. He makes it. I'll take my sprint, and I'll be out.
All right. Almost at the end of the cave, the light of the tunnel, that with rocks that are starting to cover the exit, a couple of debris hit Ruben's arm, dropping Ali as he falls over.
Oh, fuck off.
He just tripped over. He says, It's very perilous right now. At the last second, the birdfolk is pulled out of the cave. The entrance explodes with sand and rock. And you guys appear right out of here. That rhymes.
Oh.
Yeah, that's convenient. As soon as Ruben lets go, Ali pats his body and then his face in shock, checking to see if he's actually alive. Just looking over to you, Sourdough, is like, I'm alive?
Yeah, you're good.
I'm alive! We're alive! He shouts in jubilation as he grabs Sourdough and spins around. We're alive! We're alive! We're alive!
Yeah, we're alive! I'm very confused.
He just repeats it over and over. He's just like spinning around. Both of you are just making tracks in the sand. He's so happy. Ali just like gives the catfolk a kiss on each cheek. Finally, the exhaustion kicks in as he collapses on the warm sand.
I'll sort of slump confused next to him.
Still laughing at triumph over death itself. We are still stranded in the desert.
I mean, the sandstorm's gone.
Yeah.
So we can get out.
The birdfolk muttered at the realization now sinking in as you two were still stuck in an unforgiving desert with no help of rescue. Just then, your new magic device locator starts whirring to life once again, indicating a point in the sand.
Is it the same point as before?
It is, in fact, the same point as before.
I knew it! And I stumble back over there with my crowbar in hand and start to I dig with one hand and I'm poking around in the sand with the crowbar to see if I hit anything solid.
Ali shrugs as you start digging again as the stone slate appears, humming with the same vibration as the new magic device.
Wait, the stone plate that I have already?
Remember when you found dormant stone?
Oh yeah!
It's now vibrating.
Yeah, you specifically said it was dormant and I was like, oh, that's something. Oh!
You needed something, now you have it.
Hey, Ali, come look at this!
Sort of goes over and... Ali shrugs as it seems that this was where it was needed to be placed.
Yeah, I was right. There is something here.
It was not a malfunction after all?
No, it wasn't. That's what And I will, slowly place the new magic device we just got into the receptacle with the stone plate.
Mm-hmm. So you place it? The metal shifts and cranks like gears and clockwork. The faint tune now grows stronger as you hear a little melody play, like a music box that was wound up. All of a sudden, the ground shakes again as a response from the distance, sand spewing out of more cracks and holes, playing the melody back. Both the device and the ground surrounding it harmonized as it played its song. The entire portion of the desert was crafted for this one moment. The melody fades, and the song stops, leaving the two in silence.
I will sit back down in the sand, draw my notebook and a small little writing utensil out of my bag, and start writing.
What are you going to be writing?
I'm going to be writing about the encounter, the big swirling like sand monster with a face laid within, the voice I heard in the sands, the temple below, the fact that it hadn't been discovered before, the fact that it was laced with like huge machines everywhere, a description of like the new magical device and the ritual that went on, the fact that the cave basically self-destructed when the new magic device was assembled, the new magic device and the stone plate in the sand, the singing of the melody, and the stoppage, and the response as well.
It appears like the entire land was essentially crafted as one big musical instrument. Ali just sort of looks over and it's just like, do you mind crediting?
Oh, of course. I was going to say you could write this down and use this to write your dissertation that you need.
Close enough.
Absolutely. I mean, write this down yourself.
You also notice that the new magic device is still active, and you can also still pick it up.
I will pick it up, hold it for a few minutes, and then put it back down, just to see if like anything happens when I put it back down.
Nothing happened afterward.
I will pick it up, put it in my bag, and kindly ask Allie to mark this place on a map so that like people could return to it later, possibly.
Way ahead of you. As he just like starts scribbling down. Both Sourdough and Ali saw silhouettes in the distance approaching them. It was the remnants of the exploration team, following the music from the device. Hamad said something, muttering under his breath, as they were able to catch the stray Rashids and supplies, allowing a safe passageway out of the fracture. We do have an epilogue.
I figured I was going to ask.
About 2 weeks go by, and Ali excitedly rushes to Sourdough as he holds up a message ribbon. He had gotten a letter from the Empyrean Academia, a response from a paper that Sourdough had written about the newest discovery. Unraveling the tape, his grin grew wider and wider as he read and then handed it to the Catfolk. The Empire not only accepted his submission, but requested that the Emperor himself seek an audience with the artificer.
I submitted a paper?
Well, Ali helped you submit a paper. Felice in his eyes, he hugged him in congratulations as they prepared a trip to the Empire's capital to seek an audience with the Emperor.